Hello my friends and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to talk about the real estate in Japan and how easy it is to get a visa. I just spent 3 months in Japan and I definitely have some mixed feelings about it. Some of the things I really loved about Japan was the snow. I went there during winter and it is definitely an amazing country for skiing and snowboarding. I had a lot of fun skiing in the local ski resort. The food is amazing, although it wasn't always that easy to find healthy options, especially in ski resorts. I mean, you would think in Japan, like, they definitely have a very healthy food culture with... The food was great. I definitely can't complain about that. Although I did find they didn't always have that many healthy food options. The country is very safe. I had no problems traveling around and even leaving my stuff unattended, like my valuables, they would not get stolen. Japan is a very, very safe country. Public transport is pretty amazing. You can get anywhere with the Shinkansen. Let's do an overall overview of the living conditions in Japan before I get into the visa and business sides. And there's all these rules and regulations that even when you're just sorting out your garbage, that are sometimes so tiring and they will make you feel like you're going insane sometimes. Some of the downsides of living in Japan, though, are constant visa problems. The fact that everything is really expensive. I mean, the cost of living is way higher than in countries like Indonesia or the Philippines or Bulgaria. In regards to real estate, I was really interested in looking at lodges in ski resorts because I heard that it is really affordable to buy a ski lodge or a hotel in a ski resort in Japan. And here's a little bit of history. So in the 80s and the 90s, Japan went through a period of strong economic growth. There was a lot of money available, and a lot of this money went into the development of their ski resorts. So ski resorts and ski lodges popped up like mushrooms in the 80s and the 90s, and that was the case up until the recession at the end of the 90s. Boom, recession hits, and suddenly people have way less money. They definitely don't have the money to go and ski and snowboard. So a lot of these resorts and lodges went bust, and they were usually owned by families. So the families are still owners of these lodges, but they just don't have any clients anymore, any guests. Most of them are in a really bad shape because they haven't been renovated since the late 90s. Some love, and they definitely need some maintenance. There's also, in a lot of cases, no money to maintain the properties. So a lot of them, because they are in a bad shape, you can buy a 5-bedroom lodge in Japan for as low as 30,000 euros. But then you have this lodge and all these problems come up. So you buy a lodge and you start a business, which you can do as a foreigner. You can own property in Japan as a foreigner. I know in countries like Indonesia and the Philippines, that's not allowed. Only a local can own property, but in Japan, you can own property as a foreigner. For the visa, you can get a business visa. And for this visa, you need a business plan with financial targets. So you need to present this to the government where they will make a decision, which usually takes a very long time in Japan. The bureaucracy is definitely very intense. So you can expect that even when you buy your property, it will still take a long time before you get a business visa. When you finally do get approved for a business visa, which I don't think is really that hard. I mean, if you have a good business plan and you really put some work into it, I have no doubt that you will get approved eventually. But the problem is, in your first 3 years in business, you will only get a 1-year visa. So you will get 3 times. So for 3 years, a 1-year visa 3 times. And then after that, they will reassess everything. And then it's possible to get a 3-year visa. So you might think, great, I have a 1-year visa, let's go. But you can't open up a bank account with a 1-year visa. Neither can you get a credit card, or you can't get a business loan on a 1-year visa. The businesses I've talked to said they do mainly cash. So with all the joys and difficulties of cash, it is definitely a bit tricky to manage. How are you going to pay for stuff without a bank account? How are you gonna receive money without a bank account in Japan? These are all very fun things to figure out in your first 3 years of business. So how are your clients going to pay you without a bank account? On top of that, hiring foreigners and going through the whole visa process with them in Japan is really very slow. Definitely opportunity for the right person if you really love snow and you love the Japanese culture and you have a lot of patience, then it is definitely the country for you. But be careful, there are definitely a lot of challenges when you want to start up a business in Japan. That's definitely one way to do it. Otherwise, you need to have a lot of perseverance and patience to be able to start up a business in Japan, especially because the visas are very challenging to get, and the bureaucracy, the language, the costs that are associated with starting up a business in Japan can be quite high because the country is quite expensive. What about buying real estate? So most of the homes in Japan, in the countryside, are very affordable. Reasons are that people have moved to the city from the countryside to find work. So a lot of these homes are available, they are affordable, they are very simple homes because of the earthquakes. So typical in Japan, people will buy a piece of land, they will put a simple home on it, and they will not do that many renovations on it. They will just basically let the home deteriorate until they can't leave it anymore, and then they will just demolish it and build a new home. And if you can't get a business loan, you can still always work with investors. Church bells in Italy feels like home. There are definitely a lot of good options in Japan if you want to do renovation projects. The prices of the homes are like as low as 6,000 euros. These are homes that are close to a ski resort. If you love the idea of having a little holiday home close to a ski resort, then Japan definitely has a lot of opportunities. But it's the same as with business and starting up a business in Japan. It's not that easy to get a visa in Japan, so you will have the same challenges as with the business visa. But if you are looking for just a little holiday home to spend maybe 3 months of the year or a couple of months during the year in Japan, then this is definitely a good option. That was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you want to live in Japan or if you ever have lived in Japan and what your experiences were. Mine were definitely mixed. I definitely enjoyed my time while I was there, but I have seen with my own eyes how expats struggle living in Japan. That's what this video was about. I gave you my honest review and honest experience of what it was being in Japan. So I hope that you are having a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, darlings. Mwah.